It's Mike Adams, and I'm the vice chair of the board, and we'll call it to order, and please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, I want to remind everyone, this is a public meeting being conducted in accordance with Oregon Public Meetings Law. It's being recorded, minutes will be taken. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. We ask that you treat everyone respectfully and refrain from a lot of side conversations. There is a sign up sheet to comment during public testimony. It looks like there's only a few. If you're interested in testifying during the public comment period, you can just raise your hand and we'll make sure you get this. The first item on the agenda, the second, number 2, is to swear in the new board member, Amanda Carter. So Amanda, there is a script. Yep. Yeah. That I don't. You need it? Yeah. You stand and repeat after me. Raise your right hand. I, Amanda Carter, being fully duly sworn, will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
Being first duly sworn, will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and will discharge the duties as a member of the Board of Directors of Sweet Home School District number 55
and will discharge the duties as a member of the Board of Directors of School District number 55
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay. Let's see. The next order of business is public comments. Anyone who wishes to address the board may do so at this time. A little bit about the process. It's a time for you to speak. It's not a point then counterpoint by a staff or a board member. There's no direct or cross-examination like we have in court. So please limit your comments to 3 to 5 minutes. And first we have Jason Reddick.
I wrote things down because I had so much to say. I wanted to be able to stay on track. So I apologize if it sounds like I'm reading this. Good evening. My name is Jason Reddick. I'm a former board member and the most recent former board chair. I'm here tonight to speak about the attempt to terminate the superintendent's contract for no cause. I want to first speak to the no cause termination clause that exists in the superintendent's contract. This was put into the contract originally because at the time, this contract was originally negotiated. To move a superintendent, the contract was to be paid out in full. That would result in up to 3 years of wages and benefits being paid for work not performed. After this contract was negotiated, the Oregon legislature passed a law that stated that districts would only be liable for 1 year of that contract if this clause existed in the contract. This clause was not intended to be used because a few members of the board decided that they wanted to remove the superintendent and insert their friend into this position. It was intended to protect the district from liability of a large expenditure if necessary. I also want to speak about violations of board policy BD/BDA and ORS 192-630. This policy and law states that any business of the board is to be conducted in public session only, except for a few legal exemptions. There have been conversations and text messages between board members that constitute an illegal serial board meeting. Board members can't discuss outside of a public meeting any business of the board. This violation occurred through the board chair contacting multiple board members in order to gain support for his termination of the superintendent's contract. These violations can result in fines of up to $1,000 per occurrence given directly to the individual board members. You will see on your agenda that complaints have been filed regarding this violation. And if the board is not willing to address those complaints and correct the situation, those complaints will be appealed to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. As a part of this process, Board Chair Floyd Neuschwander has also violated policy BBFA and ORS 244.040 in that he has a potential or actual conflict of interest regarding the removal of the superintendent and appointment of his preferred candidate to the position. This attempt to remove the superintendent from his position is in retaliation for employment actions taken regarding Floyd's wife, who is an employee of the school district. I have personally had to stop Floyd from trying to verbally attack the superintendent in public meetings for this situation. The job of the board chair is to run the public meetings and keep these situations from happening. They're to ensure that violations of the law and board policies regarding meetings do not happen and make sure that all voices of the board members are heard before discussions or before decisions are made. Floyd has used his position as board chair to do the opposite. He has used his position to push a personal agenda and attempt to keep debate and the decision process out of the view of the public. He has violated not only board policy, but state law. And in the process, dragged other board members into these violations, opening up those board members to personal liability and possible fines. One board member who was involved in this situation has already resigned. There are others who should consider the same course of action. I also have questions regarding the resignation of Aaron Barstad. As a part of your agenda packet, you have a copy of your letter of resignation. It is dated July 28, 2025. Based on Aaron's own account, it was submitted to Floyd on that date. The same form is stamped as received on August 7th, 2025. The agenda for this meeting was then revised on August 7th to accept her resignation and declare the vacancy. If the board chair had received the letter of resignation, why did he sit on it through the board officers meeting, which took place on August 4th, when the agenda for this meeting was set? Why was it not a part of the original agenda that was set and approved by all of the board officers? I can speculate about why this happened, but I can't come up with one single justifiable reason for him to hold this resignation until it became public knowledge and his hand was forced. I believe strongly that if you complain about something, you should also offer solutions. So here are a few solutions. Floyd has abused his position as board chair and dragged this board into controversy that is not only extremely disruptive to the operation of the district, but also has the potential to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars that should be used to educate the students of this district, not for his personal vendetta. He has violated the superintendent's contract by not giving the agreed upon 10-day notice spelled out in that contract before calling a meeting to discuss a no-cause termination of that contract. He has broken the public trust and created unnecessary anger at the board for his own benefit. He has violated board policy and state law in the process. This board should take action to remove him from his position as board chair and censure him to minimize his ability to create legal problems for the board. There are at least 3 remaining board members who have been involved in supporting Floyd in his actions. They have participated in illegal serial meetings and have allowed this problem to destroy the confidence that the community, the employees, and the leadership of this district have in their board. They have been deceitful in their dealings with other board members and the community. Those 3 should make their position clear to the community and be open and honest moving forward. They should also consider resigning from their position as the public has lost trust in them as board members and they can no longer be trusted to be open and objective with decisions in the future. Recall petitions are in the works, and if those involved can't make the right decision for the community and the students, the decision will be made for them. Finally, there needs to be a commitment by this board and every board member to uphold your oath of office and conduct all business in public. The illegal serial board meetings can't continue. Problems like this and a dysfunctional board will work their way down into the classroom and affect the quality of education for the most important constituents of the district, the students. You as board members have a choice to make. You can turn this around and begin to build the trust of the community back. I will be here to make sure that happens regardless of the actions I must take. Thank you for your time and your dedication to the students of Sweet Home. Let's correct the situation and get back to the proper procedures of this board and move forward with the focus on giving each child every chance to achieve their potential.
At this point, the next item to review is the approval of today's agenda. Board members have received the agenda in advance. Are there any requested changes or additions? So moved. I have a motion to approve the agenda as written. Okay.
I'm a little confused, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the right words. Were we done with public comment? I felt like we just had one person, I don't know if anybody else wanted to.
Yeah,
speak.
no, we were done.
Okay, make sure that's.
They did. Thank you for making sure. Yeah.
I actually like to make a change, add a policy to the agenda. So the policy that I'd like to have.
At this point, we have a motion and a second. And so you're saying that in discussion, anybody else want to say anything in discussion before we vote on the motion that's on the floor?
The motion is to approve the agenda, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's not the discussion. I'm
correct.
talking discussion.
That's
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what I failed at was I was trying to think about the public and I forgot to just add my policy and just, it's just the flag. I wanted to add a couple of things to the flag policy. And by the time the second came in, I hadn't said it. So for us to get that on the agenda, I'm not sure how we would do that.
At the next officers meeting, we can talk about it.
First reading probably, so take effect.
So I know we talked about it throughout the meeting. I did send it to Julie today. And it didn't make it onto the policy or onto the agenda.
Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna go with the motion and the second that's on the floor to approve the agenda. And everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Record reflect, the motion carries with Mary as a no. The agenda is approved. Student personnel reports.
I don't believe we'll have a student here today. We're not back in session yet, but we do have both certified and classified
Yeah.
representatives here. No, go ahead.
Thelma, it's all you.
Well, I typically don't come during the summer because it's summer vacation. But I support Terry to lead our district like he has the last couple of years. I was very shocked at the board behavior. And Jason basically said everything else that needed to be said. I just want you all to know that I do support Terry. And with us already being, because of enrollment down, what, $1.5 million that you guys had to make up?
In the ballpark.
Yeah, to have to buy out the contract, that's irresponsible of the board.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
If they were clapping for me to come up.
Take it back.
Dustin, welcome, and Amanda getting sworn in, and Ms. Maynard, So welcome and congratulations on joining this. You read anything good on social media lately? So I get to start my 35th year. Hoorah. I think this is my fourth year in this position. And keep coming back. I like what I get to be a part of. I'm proud of what I get to be a part of and the representation of our teachers. This year, you know, and I know that some stuff has happened, but we're at a part now where we're going to move forward. What gets settled in a house that's a little bit divided has to take a back seat at this. What we need to do to serve kids and the people that work in this district. We're the biggest employer in the city of Sweeto. And so I'm very, you know, whether I agree with some of you or disagree with some of you, here's the deal. You're taking on a service and I appreciate your time to do that. And you're going to come out with the barbs and the arrows and everything else. But I know what it's like to serve on a board. I served on the USA Wrestling's board of directors for several years. And I know what that's like. And I do appreciate your time and what you're doing for our community. And for our kids. Now, we're coming in here, and I guess what you do something once, it's a one-timer, but when you do it a second time, it becomes tradition. Our first, or their first, our last, the kindergartners coming in, the seniors going out, meet at the field. I would encourage you guys to be a part of that. When I saw that last year, it was like, yeah, I'm going to walk my class to watch this happen. And then when I watched it happen, I was like, just awestruck of how powerful that is, you know. And I would encourage you guys to come see that. We've got a lot of stuff set up for freshman orientation. The junior high has orientations going on, every elementary school. One of the things that our school does in this community and our teachers do is they do what they can do best, and that's to make it a welcoming environment. My wife and I have talked about this. When she was a kid, school was her safe place. You know, school was her safe place. I grew up, I just picked my parents very well. But school was her safe place, and it was a welcoming, and it was a, you know, the teachers. And so that's what we are for these kids. And it's exciting to see that we're doing stuff, and we're always, and Tomas Rosa and his leadership group are always doing things to make it better. And they trickle that down into the elementary. And our junior high is thriving as well. And so I'm excited about what we're going to do. And I would encourage you guys to come and watch. I think, are you guys getting Kristen Adams's email? The what's happening? Did you last year? No. You got it each week. I don't think so. You got it last year. Each week it comes on like Sunday evening. She posted it's everything that's happening during the week. If you can keep up with that and find those things that you can go to, that would be awesome. And come into the classroom, come into the assemblies, go see the read-alongs and things like that. I think it'd be wonderful for you to gain perspective there. Also, you know, guess what we're doing this year? Doing the negotiations this year. It's a certified staff's turn. And I don't know, man, it was 2 emails and a signing last year. That was as good as it was pretty good. And I know that we're in a different place on some things, but I look forward to working with you guys on that. And we look forward to getting, you know, what we can to take care of our people here. So, but one thing I would ask of you guys, you know, a lot of times I come here and I just talk and then things. You guys got it. If you have a question, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer. I won't buffalo you. I can't do that. But I'll try to find out. If you want to ask me a question that'll make me, maybe I don't like the answer I have to give, or I don't like the question, but I'm going to do my best to answer them and keep you guys completely informed about what's going on with our teachers. We have a very strong union at the high school. Michelle Snyder is our vice president on that, and she and I work very well together, and we have great representatives, and so it's an exciting time. Also, I know that they started their football camp tonight. Cross country's been training, cheers, the 4th day of a camp. Volleyball's cranking, everything's going right now, and soccer. And so it's exciting to see what we're going to do and the opportunities we provide for kids. But one thing about this school, this community, is it takes care of each other. And so that's what I'd like to see us do, is take care of each other. And this year, and I'll be going through, and I'll pray for every door when school starts. And it's gonna be a good year. I'm excited about it being a good year. And advice, if certain people tell me something, there's people I respect. And if they tell me something, if I need advice from somebody, I'm going to listen to them. Here, I'll use a word I like to use. If some chowderhead spews fodder, you don't have to listen to them. Okay. So you guys know people who are credible, who's done the jobs, who's done the things. And as you seek, the Bible even says seek wise counsel. So I wish you guys good luck in this year, and I really look forward to signing a record-setting contract for the teachers. Real excited about that, Kevin. So we'll see how that goes.
We knew there was humor.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Oh, that wasn't a joke. So show me the money. So, all right. Do you guys have any questions for me, or for what we're doing, or the kickoff to the school year, or anything? Yes.
Can I come pray with you?
Anybody can. I usually go there. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I just do that when I go it's just something I've done. So, they have a lot of opportunities. They do a prayer at the flagpole before school hours that meet all requirements too, that anybody's welcome to join. So, anybody else have any questions about anything? Dale, how many years is this for you?
Too many?
This is good.
It's about
I know.
13, 14, something like that.
Okay, well, you guys, good luck to you on this. And Dan Tao's back, longest person in the district, starting his 36th year. And when you look around and you see the 12-year-olds that are teaching, kills me. So,
Yep.
But thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. Fairly short tonight. Our directors and our administrators have returned to the buildings. It's good to have them back in. New teacher orientation is August 18th. The district-wide in-service kickoff is the 25th. The strategic plan, we will be meeting 3 to 6 ahead of our next meeting to finalize and adopt that and share goals surrounding that. And then one thing I just want to put out there, cell phones are going to be a bit of a topic here. Didn't make it through the legislative process to ban cell phones bell to bell in schools across the state. And so the governor did an executive order doing the same. And so we are now under the onus of banning cell phones from bell to bell on campuses. By October 31st, we have to have a policy in place to be adopted January 1, 2026. we need to get feedback from the community. We need to get feedback from the staff, from the students. And go about this in a sensible and thoughtful manner. I'm bringing this before the board just to give you a heads up. This is something that we know is coming. We're going to need to work through later next week. OSBA will come out with model language if to do so. And I suggest we take a really good look at that, get a lot of feedback from our community. And then work that into a process here.
But we can form our own rules on that, right? As a board, even though it's an executive order.
We're
Yes,
limited
no.
somewhat by the language of the executive order in that it wants, there's three minor exceptions. One being if somebody has a medical issue. But it's basically a ban for them not having the phone at school all day long.
That includes staff too.
It's
It's
Student.
just students. And I think it includes charter schools as well.
I believe 22 states have already passed some sort of legislation or order. So there are a lot of policies already out there that are, wouldn't cost the district any money. It's just it's like a responsibility. Turn it off, put it in your backpack, and if you take it out, there'd be consequences, something like that. So there's a lot of model ones that we can look out there as well.
Actually, with the way it's done, there is no consequences for,
The way that the executive order came out.
they cannot miss any instructional time. As a
As
consequence.
a result of discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there could be consequences so long as it's not taking away from education.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to.
They do have a draft already, OSBA already has a draft, they're waiting. This week or getting some clarification from the governor's office on a few things, and then they'll be releasing the draft to the boards. Yeah.
Anything else?
Unless there's questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the consent agenda. Approved minutes from the July 14th, 2025 school board meeting. Approved out-of-state field trip for the high school FFA trip to Indianapolis, October 25th, 2025 to November 2nd, 2025. And on the revised agenda that was posted, declare vacancy, accept the resignation from Aaron Barstad, board member, position number 8 at large, effective July 28th, 2025. And with that, we probably need to give Julie some direction on when to post the position.
Soon as we declare it open, then it
Yeah.
gets posted.
And I think that's the answer, but just so that we're clarifying it. So, any,
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second.
okay, there's a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as written. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No. Next, information discussion, Kevin, budget update.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Item 7A in the board packet, budget update. We've now completed the first month of the 2025-2026 fiscal year. If you look down at the very bottom, you'll notice that year-to-date spending is just over $63,000 above the same time period last year. The primary reason for that would be higher liability insurance and property insurance premiums. Those costs continue to go up substantially. For both of those, we belong to a pool that most of the school districts in Oregon. And so things that are happening in other school districts directly impact us, like on the property side. Last winter, you may have seen on the news, North Medford High School's gym, they had quite a bit of snow in Southern Oregon. And the glulam beams that support the roof structure collapsed. And so the entire gym has to be replaced. And so being part of this pool, we're contributing to that. On the liability side, if you watch the news, other school districts in Oregon continue to have quite a few lawsuits and issues regarding staff to student inappropriate behavior. And so claims that happen in other districts end up impacting our rates as well. And so that's reflected here in the higher costs. I can definitely say, you know, on that side, you know, we're, as far as our training, spending a lot of time dealing with making sure that our staff act professionally around students, know appropriate boundaries, because that's key to making sure, you know, because we're at a point in Oregon too, for some of the school districts that have had a number of claims, they're actually losing coverage for this, or they have to go out on the open market for coverage, which costs even more. And so we don't want to end up there. Plus, it's just the right thing to do. We want students to know that when they come here, they're in a safe environment. And so we are going to spend a lot of time and effort on professional development to make sure that our staff know appropriate boundaries.
Any questions for Kevin?
Do you have any updates on that property we considered from Mary White?
How about that's something we property transactions is an item we can talk about in executive session, and so we will have some additional information to come. Yep.
Thank you. The next item under information discussion is OGEC complaints. This may be a little bit long, but I want to be open and transparent. I made some notes so that I would not forget anything. Technically, as the vice chair, I've been given some written complaints alleging an illegal meeting of the board. Those first complaints came in after the officers meeting last Monday. And so I'll talk about them more in depth as we figure out as a board how we're going to deal with them. Technically, they're grievances, not complaints. Grievances filed with the governing body in accordance with ORS 192-705 and OAR 199-050-070. A complaint is filed with the Oregon Government Ethics Commission after the grievance procedure in accordance with 192.685 and OAR 192-050-075. So the complaint is technically is what is filed with OGEC, not as what's filed with the board. However, as far as what I've received tonight, I'm going to refer to them as complaints unless that distinction is made otherwise.
Distinction. So are these complaints that have been filed with the OGEC?
These have been filed with the public body, with the school board, which is the first step for an individual to be able to file a complaint with OGEC.
I understand.
It's what gets you, the grievance process is kind of what gets you through the gate. It gets you through the door right. Without following that initial process, OGEC will just dismiss them.
And the grievances are made at a public meeting. Just verifying.
Yep.
And then it works up the chain. If
it works up the chain.
We have 21 days to respond to them.
Yeah,
whether
and
we
we'll
believe
get
there's
into that.
a legitimate.
Yeah.
And then once we determine there's a legitimate complaint, then it gets sent up to OGE. or we don't, and it gets put down here, which
What?
at that time, like what Jason said, you can then, he can go past the board after 21 days and file one directly to them.
Dustin is getting ahead of where I am later on in the script. But that is absolutely true. The public body, within 21 days of receipt of the grievance, has to provide the person making the grievance a written response, as well as send that written response to OGEC with the initial complaint. So to summarize the complaints as we start talking about it, on Monday, August 4th, there's 4 separate complaints, each against 4 different named board members. On Tuesday, August 5th, I got 1 complaint against 5 named board members. Both of those first 2 have a handful of pages of texts and maybe Facebook, but I think primarily text messages between individuals attached to the back. On Thursday, August 7th, 1 complaint against 1 board member by name and others who have participated in an illegal meeting. On Sunday, August 9th, 1 complaint against 2 named board members and other unnamed, plus an employee and spouse for facilitating an illegal meeting and other possible ethical violations in ORS Chapter 244. And then today, the 11th, there's 1 complaint against 1 named board member and other unnamed, kind of the same thing, plus a school district employee spouse for facilitating the illegal meeting and other possible ethical violations under ORS Chapter 244. So basically, there's 5 complaints if you want to lump the 4 separate complaints by the 1 together. And basically, all complaints are named 5 different board members. On August 5th, I called and spoke with someone at the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. I spoke with a couple attorneys over the weekend at the OSBA conference, a PACE attorney and a policy attorney, to clarify certain points on how I should proceed tonight. I do not believe that our school board policy BBAA allows me to contact our attorney of record without approval from a majority vote of the board, and we're on a clock to finish this in 21 days. I haven't communicated with any of the 5 persons who are named in the complaint. This tonight is news to them. If I had called and told them of a complaint, I knew they'd ask me how we're going to handle it in the meeting. And in short, I didn't want the risk of yet another inadvertent public meeting, because there's 5 of them. That's quorum of the board. So everybody's learning about it tonight. I'm an attorney. I'm going to do an attorney-like thing. Nothing I say here is legal advice. If you individually want an attorney, go find one. This last legislative session, the Oregon legislature passed a bill that granted authority to OGEC to investigate violations of the Oregon Public Meetings Law. So ORS 244.350. In transparency, I pulled some information directly off the slides presented by 2 OSB attorneys at the OSBA conference held during this last weekend that I'm just going to share with the public and share with us for education. Convening as in a meeting in ORS 192.610.1 is defined as 1, gathering in a physical location, 2, using electronic, video, or telephonic technology to be able to communicate contemporaneously among participants, 3, using serial electronic written communication among participants, or 4, using an intermediary to communicate among participants. 1 slide, serial meetings prohibited. These prohibitions apply to any one of a combination of the following methods of communication: in-person telephone calls, video, video teleconferencing or electronic video applications. Written communications, including electronic written communications such as email, text, and other written and other electronic applications. One or more intermediaries to convey information among members and any other means of conveying information. And in the class this weekend, they said a thumbs up could be enough. The testimony you heard is true if OGEC finds that the school board violated public meetings law. It can impose civil penalties not to exceed $1,000 per violation. The civil penalty is personal liability of each board member and can't be paid by the school district according to ORS 244-040. Something that I'm sure will not make everybody up here happy. A complaint alleging violation public meetings law that's filed under ORS 192-685 will be construed against the complaint against all members of the governing body, and cases will be open for each member of the governing body. And that's found in Oregon Administrative Rule 189-050-075 sub 2. So when I talked to the OGEC person on the 5th, she pointed that out to me, and that's where we stand. So that's kind of what I have for information. And we can move on to action items.
Wait.
And I'll talk more about what
I see on
decisions we need to make.
number 7, it says information/discussion. So I have a couple of questions. So
Okay. And we may get to this in my next section. I have kind of an introductory thing to actions that will kind of give us the background of what we need to do, what we need to decide as a board tonight to respond within the 21 days.
So are you moving on to action number 8 or are you staying on 7?
I was going to move on to action 8A unless you
Yeah, I think.
want to discuss something.
Well, unless we move the word discussion down to 8, because I want to make sure.
Well, I'm sure there's going to have to be discussion and motions in this next section.
Okay, so long as we can have a.
Yeah, no, we will. As has been stated, I guess we'll 8A and action items, and there will be discussion. We'll move on there. The agenda within 21 days of receipt of a grievance, the school board's required to send a written response to each person making a complaint and to OGEC. Needs to acknowledge receipt. We need, as a body, need to acknowledge receipt of the complaints in that written response. The law does not specify who will respond on behalf of the board. So that's a decision that we'll have to make tonight. So the board needs to decide who will draft a written response to each complaint on behalf of the school board. Again, within 21 days of receipt, which was last Monday after the officers meeting, about 5:30 was the first one.
So it's not 21 days from today.
No, it's 21 days from the date the school district received the complaint, which the first one was on the 5th last
And we
Monday.
didn't, we as a board, were not notified of any of these complaints until tonight because.
Because the OGEC, after conferring with them, if I were to call 5 of you and say there's been a complaint filed against you, we're going to talk about it in the meeting. You're going to ask questions about how we're going to handle it in the meeting. And I wanted to avoid the appearance of impropriety. I wanted to avoid having that illegal serial meeting where 5 of us are talking about how to, more than 5 of us are talking about how to handle it outside of the public meeting.
Are the complaints public?
Yes. The complaints are not confidential. The
So they're not-
only thing that is that they said was confidential is PII, personally identifiable information. So the name with an address, with the phone number, with.
So if it's public, why didn't it go out in the agenda packet? Just curious.
Because I'm not gonna put it out to everyone without the board voting on it. I have
And that's what the
copies,
law
I have
says.
copies, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not necessarily what the law says. But it's my choice from a liability perspective. That I, as the vice chair who ended up responsible for this. I have them, I have copies for everyone here and copies for the public. But I want the board to vote to do that.
So when are we going?
And so let me talk about what we need to decide. So we need to decide who's responding. Within the 21-day reply, we have to do one of the following three options. And this is where your knowledge of what's in the complaint is going to be irrelevant. One, we deny the facts and we deny there's a violation. We provide the public body's version of the events, deny a violation occurred. The second option, we admit the facts and deny a violation. Explain why the facts are not a violation of the public meetings law. The third option for each complaint is to admit the facts, admit a violation, and explain how the public body will fix the violation, such as, having an OSBA person come to give us remedial public meetings training. Or undoing a decision that was made, which in this case there wasn't. No final action came out of the special meeting that was canceled at the last minute. So there's copies of all of the complaints over there that I had Julie make that I came in earlier today. And I've been advised by OGEC and OSB attorneys that the subject matter of the complaints are not confidential or privileged. Again, except for PII, name, address, phone number, and email. As a result, it appears the board has a number of options to assist in making this decision. One option we could do that I lean against, frankly, because of the timeline, is we could hire an investigator, either an internal employee or an external investigator, which I recommend. If we hire somebody, it's a third party outside the school district. We don't want to put an employee in that situation. But again, you're limited by the 21 days to respond. So the first complaint came in on the 5th and we burned 6-7 days. So basically an investigation would have to be wrapped up within 15 days and our response sent to OGEC based on that investigation. I'm open to however the board wants to deal with it. I'm happy to read the complaints.
I have a question. Under
Yeah.
the action items, OGEC complaint decisions, what is the action that we're supposed to be taking tonight?
You have to decide who's going to draft a response to the complaints. As a board, we need to decide who's going to physically write the complaint, the response.
Okay.
And we as a board need to decide if we're going to deny or admit the facts and deny or admit whether a violation occurred.
So I can understand the first one, but the second one is hard for me because we are all just finding out that there's complaints against 5 of us. Haven't even had a chance to look at any complaints, and we're going to be taking an action on 1, 2, or 3. I mean.
Well, that's why if someone wants to make a motion, we can pass out the complaints and you can look at them.
how about
And
we,
we'll go through them one at a time.
yeah, I make a motion that we as board members are able to look at the complaints against us and have some time to review what's going on before we have to submit a response 1, 2, or 3.
We don't have to.
And so that is a motion.
Mike, who normally would do this?
There's a motion on the
Who would
table.
be responsible for that?
So I've done this on behalf of the city. As the city attorney. I've,
And I have a motion on the table.
No, sir.
He hasn't asked for it yet.
okay.
So I have a motion on the table
So your motion on the table is to,
for us to have an opportunity to look at,
so,
hold on, let me think how I'm gonna phrase this. I make a motion that we take no action tonight on number 8 until we've had a chance to review the accusations. That's my
okay,
motion.
so there's a motion that we take no action on decisions tonight. On the table, is there a second?
So what kind of timeline are you?
Oh, we have to do it quickly.
Obviously.
Or,
Are you talking tonight or are you talking like we go read through the complaints and then
maybe
decide later?
come back in a week, have an executive session or an open meeting, whatever in the world we have to do. But give everyone a chance to read.
I would like to read the complaints, yes.
So
I don't think we have a week. Well, the 25th. Or I'm sorry, the 21 days and it was August 5th. That the first one came in, so we have to respond within those 21 days. I don't know that we have that kind of a timeline. I would like to read the complaint, so I agree with that.
So. Do you want to amend your motion? Or,
I mean, read the complaints and then go from there.
okay, I'll just deal with your motion since you wanted me to. Is there a second?
So the.
To take no action
Take
tonight?
no action on number 8.
Anyone? Hearing no second, the motion dies. Any other motions?
I motion to read through the complaints tonight.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Julie, if you, OGEC wants to know how we vote, if you would do a roll call.
So we're voting on whether we're gonna read that tonight.
Yeah, and we're just gonna get them right there behind Terry, pass them out.
Who do you want to start? I say so.
Yes, start with Dustin McGuire.
No,
You don't want to see the complaints tonight?
no, I want to send it off,
Send what off?
the complaint. I'd like to. I got some stuff that I want to talk about too, before we get going on things.
Okay,
Next? No.
No,
no,
Yes.
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 4-3. So, let's open it up for,
Cause I have some
And-
motions that I'd like to make too.
without any,
that I'd like to talk about. Cause I thought we were gonna have a discussion about some of this.
okay, let's, yeah, without any, objection. Let's, open it up for board discussion.
Somebody wanna go first? I'd like to go last, but. Anyway, I guess I'll start it off. I guess I'm a little upset because come in here, get sworn in, 4.5 days later, we're supposed to, vote on whether we want to keep Mr. Martin or not. I've met him once. That Monday for 37 seconds. So that weekend, I don't like to do things halfway, so my weekend of 72 hours getting ready for a board meeting, because I'm gonna vote on another man's, future. I'm gonna do some due diligence and some research and so forth, right? So I've been in the community a while, and I called some people in the district, admin, classified, certified, community member, like talked to some people for hours, talked to some in passing at a wedding, and I got a total of 62 people. And I used to be a coach here and was out in public a little bit, and I always felt that I was doing okay if I had 66% of the people's approval. Thinking that 33% of my friends and family love everything I'm doing. 33% don't really give a rip and think it's okay. And then I ruin somebody's day on a Friday night and they hate me and I want to gouge my eyes out, right? So I can live with that. 66-33. So this is the number, Mr. Martin, that I came up with out of the 62 people. And this is what I gave them as options. I said, you support Mr. Martin. You think he's doing a good job. You think he's okay, or could he do better? Or you wanted him out yesterday. Okay? Those are the 4 options. I got 4 people that he's the next best thing to sliced bread. Okay, 6%. I got 32 individuals that said he's doing a good job. You know what I mean? Supported 32% or 51%. So right there, he's already at 57 on Dustin standards. And then 24 voted that, and these were people, believe it or not, were people that Mr. Martin, what I found interesting is this large group of people were people that he had interactions with that didn't really get what they wanted. Right? And he didn't find necessarily in their favor, but they respected that he made a decision, went with it, and you don't win all the time. And so even if they would want him to be changed out, this is not the right way to go about doing it. There's a process. This process is not being followed, and it's wrong. So even the people that he interacted with and had negativity with supported it, in my opinion. Okay. And then 2 people said they wanted him out yesterday. And that's 3%. Right. So, what is that? That's 90 some percent. Steve, what is that? 97%, right? Remedial math. So with that going forward, I also, in the course of talking to these people, I got educated in ORSs. Okay, and this thing about, what was that they were saying about Jason? Somebody was talking about board policies and how you make a motion to do this and whatever to do that, and just, and so got versed in some of that stuff. And in the course of talking to these 62 people, they went on to tell me that their friends, neighbors, or whatever, we've got this one person in the district that's texting people to vote for Floyd to be as board chair. Why aren't you there voting and this and whatever? And then I got people saying that yeah, there's been a movement to get Terry out of here for quite some time, and that I think that there's certain people got on there that unfortunately the 3% got onto the board and thought they were going to make a move on things. And so then I called the state and talked to them in quite a bit of time about, and I got versed on what Jason was talking about, where we're talking about the ORS. It's 192.630. All meetings of governing body of a public body shall open to the public. A quorum of governing body may not meet in private for purposes of deciding or deliberating toward a decision of any matter except as otherwise. And then it goes down here as a subsection D is using serial electronic written communication, basically a serial meeting, texting, emailing, conversing on the phone amongst one another. And I'm thinking, all of this stuff has came down the pipe. And this is all before we get started in school. And then one thing that Steve talked about and that just frosts me is he made a comment that, oh, I know you're donating your time and that you're putting yourself out. Well, guess what? That's the most important thing you can do is donate your time. You're not getting paid for kids. And then the community, and then everybody else. But you know, we don't make widgets in Sweet Home. I taught for a while. Our products are human beings. And for people to come onto this board and act the way you're acting at the expense of the kids. I went to logging. I'm really trying not to be a logger right now. You know what I mean? So excuse me. So for people to take their personalized, individualized, and selfish agendas to this board is insulting, in my opinion. And so I think that with what I found out, with what went on, that I want to make I make a motion right now of a vote of no confidence in the current board chair. Because I don't think Floyd did his due diligence into serving this board itself and the kids in the community correctly. So I don't think he should be board chair.
I'll second.
There's a motion and maybe we'll give Jenna the second.
We vote.
A vote of no confidence of Floyd as a board chair.
Do we want to say our names to it? I think.
No, we
Yeah.
have to have
I
discussion.
think we do.
Let's do a vote. please.
Let,
You have
let-
to have discussion.
yeah, we should discuss it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I appreciate that you went and contacted 66 people. I think that that is doing your due diligence and I think that that's wonderful. What I think when you were speaking about your disappointment with the board, that really hurt, I have to tell you. Yeah, I've been here for a couple years and came for a few years before that to the meetings and I love the kids. So I was a little taken back by that. And one of the things that as a board, we always want to strive for is unity. So I'm putting that out there. What's hard for me right now, just sitting with you guys that we've gotten to know each other for the most part for a couple of years, is Floyd's not here. I don't know if you guys know where he is, but his daughter is getting commissioned on a boat, something like that.
Jerry wasn't here. We're gonna.
So hold on. I mean, I could have a response to that, which would be the irony of this evening, that we have members here in the audience. And it seems like yourself who are saying, well, you did that to Terry, but isn't that what you're doing to Floyd right now? So I find that ironic. So he would be here if he could, but he cannot because he put his child first. And so we're sitting here tonight talking about complaints and this and that and Floyd and recalling him when this board actually voted.
I'm not recalling him. I'm just taking him from being board chair. He's still a board member.
And I appreciate that. So, I just,
We will vote on that after this.
what I'm saying is that it just seems to me.
I'm not gonna lie, this isn't a power trip for Dustin. I've got too many other things going on.
I'm just getting to know you and you are fiery and I do appreciate you. And I think that you would just do a really great job. Well, like Point Counterpoint, a show that used to be on 60 Minutes, right? It's really good to have discourse. And it's good when you iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm just the board, we have a motion in a second. What I'm just saying is, let's get the person who's all these accusations are against, let's give him a moment, come back and defend himself. That's all. It's not saying, I mean, this is a
seconded.
Yeah, we have a motion in a second.
Second.
right.
Let's just-
So my discussion
let's just-
is appealing for you to vote no on that motion and give the person who is the accused an opportunity. Just like anyone here would want an opportunity to defend themselves.
I guess my discussion on this point, and it goes a little bit more back to Terry, is we sat here as a board. And we voted him in, we extended his contract, we voted him in, we chose him. We did a survey, we did feedback, we all sat here and talked about every single bullet point of what Terry's doing wrong, what Terry could improve on. None of this came up until all of a sudden we're getting phone calls and emails that we have to attend a private meeting
Well,
that nobody
and-
knows about.
And July, we swore in everybody, but Amanda, who wasn't here, no discussion of Terry, no discussion of performance.
Right. My
But
understanding.
3 or 4 days later, let's have a special meeting.
And
I
agree with that. I was shocked for that.
So
again, it goes back to, I don't know.
So again, I think we have a motion and a second to remove Floyd as chair.
No, just clarification. It's no
Okay.
confidence vote, right?
No confidence vote.
That does not remove. him
That
from the
doesn't
chair.
remove him as a chair. I thought I heard you say both,
I
but
thought I did too.
No confidence and
I want to
vacate?
move Floyd as board chair.
Support that in a second.
That's what I
Okay.
thought that I said.
okay, so it is a motion to remove him as board chair and you seconded it. Give us a roll call vote, Julie.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And so what just passed? The motion.
He's no longer board chair.
Um,
And I'm not done. I'd also, at this time, like to make a motion. Because in the discussions that I've had and through, I think the actions that Floyd has given, just like I said, first board meeting, not all the board members were sworn in, and he comes forward, and then, to me, if there was something that Mr. Martin was doing that was so egregious that it required an immediate emergency removal from position, and we had KEZI, we had the community here, what better time than to, if it's really what it should be, come out, we come together, Floyd presents the information, we come out as a unified body, and then everybody in God knows exactly what's going on and why, and then there's none of this murmurings or whatever, total transparency. But instead, an hour before the meeting, we cancel the meeting. I'm pulling in, basically, and like ding, and yeah, Julie says the meeting's done. So I think what's gonna find in that, those complaints, there's some biased opinions that Floyd has. And I make a motion to limit Floyd's position on the board, and that he not be allowed to participate in Mr. Martin's evaluation or any discipline actions that this board may have toward Mr. Martin until the findings of the ethics violations are made known. And that goes along with, because that was what I looked up in the ORS, is what Mr. Reddick discussed earlier. And we can do that.
restate it. I want to make sure we can do it.
I make a motion to limit Floyd Newschwander's position as a school board member, that he will not be allowed to participate in Mr. Martin's evaluation or any disciplinary action pertaining to Mr. Martin until an ethics violation.
Until or forever.
And
until.
until the results of the ethics violations. I don't think that somebody should be penalized forever if he's not guilty. I'm throwing it out there, man.
Well, I'll just comment. He's no longer the chair. And we did evaluate Mr. Martin. And I don't know. He's not going to be involved in any kind of disciplinary action. If there's a.
So you don't foresee anything coming up that we could.
I don't see any kind of I mean, if he was doing something wrong, we would meet in executive session. There'd be a work improvement program plan. You know, it's progressive discipline. You'd start off and say, hey, start doing this, stop doing that. And then you put it in writing and then eventually you put them on a work improvement plan as a board in an executive session. If, you know, you talk about it in an executive session, come out, make the decision.
I guess I just want somebody dang near fired this.
And I don't, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just not sure that, I'm not sure that we can limit his participation in a vote.
I'm very challenged.
There's obviously, there's
But I-
obviously.
Everyone's back here. As a board member, I would have your back, your back, your back, in the sense of. I care about all of you deeply. And we have a mission for the kids. And I'm feeling like this is a lynching.
Hey.
That's what I'm feeling.
The lynching was with Mr. Martin.
So.
That was a lynching. This
I will vote
is
to
an
release
atonement for
those.
sins. If
If
you're asking
you do a
me,
motion to
So,
this is
reconsider,
somebody
I will
over
release those. I will
or a
vote
little
with
bit
you.
too big for their britches. And then if he had some legitimate, then why didn't we have that meeting Monday?
I don't think we were allowed to.
You have to, move the motion on the table.
Well,
So,
nobody seconded it, so it's dead.
okay,
So I have a question. I've had very limited interactions with Mr. Martin. Why did we do an evaluation and an extension of his contract when we knew there was gonna be a new board potential coming in?
Because by law, we have to.
Yeah. Okay.
By law, by policy.
His contract was up, right? Yeah.
No, it's a rolling three.
it's a rolling 3-year contract.
And it's usually the third year is tacked on a good evaluation usually.
And he did receive a good evaluation, so there was no reason to not.
So as a board this coming year,
Right.
you would vote on. We do the evaluation, vote on it and all that.
Cause I feel as a new member, I got totally thrown under the bus. I feel majority of the public out there is looking at me. That I did this, where I did not. While I might support potentially terminating Terry, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. Why are we potentially terminating him? Why? Where are we gonna come up with this money? How all of that's gonna go? I had a meeting with Terry a couple of years ago. And his words were, you do all administrative changes in July. That way, in August, you can have everyone hired. And then by the time our kids come back to school, everything is in place. So while I understand it had to happen in July, and I feel that is why that special meeting was called. Yes, there could have been different steps to happen. But I feel, like I said, I can speak for myself, that I feel I was completely thrown under the bus. And I feel that. Why were we as new members not given a chance to vote and do an evaluation on this?
Because you trust in your board members that you had previously, that you made a good positive decision to have the superintendent, and we all supported him 100% across the board besides one. I believe.
Besides one that didn't participate.
Just like when we choose Cisco and we choose there's like it's an order in which how it goes, just like the election, everything else. And so then when it comes to your time, if there's something that comes up, we discuss it over time
Right.
with that has happened, like you're an infraction or something.
Right.
But it's just the way that the system rolls out. So it's not to disinclude you from making that choice of decision. It's just that's how that situation works. And from my understanding, there was no issues
Got it.
across the board.
Right, and I had told. That I told the public, and I know one of them out there. Knows for sure that I have a question. I wanna see previous evaluations if I'm allowed to do that. And I wanna look through the budget more and.
Well, that's what this next year going forward is about, getting that, and then we can make that decision next.
Mr. Vice
That's
Chair,
the process.
Yes,
I move that we reconsider looking at the complaints.
There's been a motion to actually, let me clarify, to distribute the complaints to just the board or distribute it to the board and the public.
To the board,
Okay.
because that will play into our
Okay,
decision.
there's been a motion and a second to distribute the complaints to everyone to help us make the decision that we need to, those three options within the 21-day period. Discussion?
I just had something I wanted to read that I wrote from my heart, but I don't, can I do that right now? It's pretty.
Let's vote on this and then you can read that. Julie, if you do a roll call vote.
This is to read.
What happened to the motion that Dustin made?
It died.
It died.
He agreed it died, yeah. It's always a learning process.
Okay. Starting with Dustin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
And just to clarify what we're voting on is that we get to see.
To read
this.
you,
Okay.
you'll
Yeah.
be given
Yes.
the copies.
Yes.
And so the motion passes. Julie, do you, maybe Kevin, I think you know the stacks over there.
So while we're passing that out, I wanted to just let it, speak to the community and to the members. This has been on my heart.
Well, we will have public comment. We will have more comments at the end. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
30 pages, so taking 6 hours.
Well, I have to be there for.
We got to go through them one at
I have the floor.
one at a time. Yeah.
Hold on one second. I have the floor. I was finishing this.
I like to, but this way, I want to. Go ahead, Mary.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. I know many of you are here not just to listen to, but to be heard. And that matters deeply. Your presence is a sign of how much you care about our children, our schools, and our community. That care deserves respect. What I am about to say is just for me. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, but as an individual. Having said that, as a board, we are bound by laws, policies, and ethical guidelines that sometimes prevent us from being as open as people want. That doesn't mean we don't care. It means we're trying to navigate a complex system responsibly. Despite the tension, there's something we all share, and that is a belief in the importance of our children's education. We may not agree on every issue, but we are united in our desire to see our students thrive, to see them well taught, well supported, and well prepared for life beyond the classroom. Scripture tells us in Proverbs to train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That verse reminds us that the work we do in schools isn't temporary. It shapes the entire trajectory of a child's life. A verse from the book of Matthew says, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." This verse is a powerful reminder that children are not an afterthought. They are central to God's heart and to our mission. Their education is not just about academics, it's about nurturing the whole child, their minds, their creativity, their emotional well-being, and their sense of belonging. Every policy we review, every decision that we make should begin and end with this question: what does this mean for our children? Because they are not just the future, they're the most important part of the present. Also, a successful school board is built not only on policy, but on trust. Trust between parents, teachers, community members, and board leaders is essential to creating an effective and inspiring learning environment. Another proverb reminds us that trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Trust is not given lightly and is not built overnight. Just as we are called to trust in a higher purpose, we ask for your trust in us as board members. We understand the skepticism that can arise when decisions are made, yet we are committed to making decisions that align with the greater good, even when they are difficult. Trusting us doesn't mean agreeing with every decision, but it does mean believing that we are here with a genuine intent to serve the best interest of our children and our community. Thank you for your engagement and support, and God bless you all. Thank you for giving me.
Thank you. Dustin, do you have another motion? Did you have another motion? Before we go
Vice
through
Chair?
these, yeah,
After reading through this, I make a motion that we vacate the secretary position also.
What's that? I haven't even had an opportunity to speak.
he's had the same opportunity you have.
A lot of people.
Okay, well, I kind of need to run the meeting the way, there's been a motion to vacate the secretary position. There's a second. Is there any discussion? Julie, would you do a roll call vote? Hearing none?
Yes, I'm voting for.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Nope. We're voting on removing her.
Okay.
Grab the noose.
That's not great humor.
No, it's, in other words, this is a lynching.
I don't know, but yeah.
So this is not okay, Mike.
I don't think it's a lynching, and they made the motions, Mary. This definitely isn't 5 people. I mean, he said, based on what I've read,
Right.
I mean, we need to go through every single one of these complaints. And those first 4, against those first 4 named individuals, are all the text messages that were there to support it. There's one dated July 25th that I didn't get until I received it 5 August. And again, tons of text messages. Then there's this last one that was received today. They're kind of out of order. There's one received the 7th of August. That's the email, 3rd page from the last. And then there's a 2-page one dated August 10th that was received August 10th. August 9th. Oh, it's wrong. It's dated August 10th, but I received it in my email August 9th. So, and then I think it was resubmitted on the 10th with the signature. So, I guess we've been at this for an hour, 23 minutes. Absent any objection, I suggest we take a 5-minute break. Everybody can continue to read, 5 to 10 minute break. Everybody can use the restroom. Is there any objections? Okay, we're on a 5 to 10 minute break. I think I want to. The law does require that we as a public body deny the facts, deny a violation. Second option, admit the facts. Explain why they're not a violation, or admit the facts and admit a violation and say how to bodies can fix the violation. So we need to do that for talking to OGDC as a public body for each of these complaints. Deny the facts, deny that there's a violation. Admit the facts, say, yeah, facts are true, deny the. Or admit the facts and admit there was a violation of public meetings law, that there was an illegal public meeting. As I said, the board could decide to hire an investigator, but we still owe these responses to OGEC within 21 days of the receipt of each investigation. None of them. Those are findings that we as a board, we have to reply to the allegation with one of those three options in our response, in our written response. So each one of these complaints, we need to do a written response. We need to say, thank you very much. We acknowledge your complaint. And in addition to acknowledging the complaint, we need to pick one of those three options.
I make a motion that we admit that there is a violation and that we send this packet off to OGEC. So the third option.
So I've got a motion to admit the facts and admit there's a violation for each of these complaints. And is there a second? I think there is time to dissect each complaint.
Instead of like as a.
There's basically five, and one of them's broken up into four separate. So guess we're looking at about nine decisions: deny the facts, deny a violation, admit the facts. And then as we're voting on that, what I did not get to in my script, that before we take action on each of those, I need to ask the board to disclose any conflict of interest, which is may, shall, potential, or actual, provide you a financial benefit or avoidance of financial detriment. If you have any ex parte contact, discussions outside the public meeting, and bias if you can't be objective in a decision. So with each of the complaints, as we're voting, I'm going to ask you for a conflict of interest, ex parte contact, or bias. So according to public meetings law, you have to, if you have a conflict of interest, if you have a financial benefit or avoidance of financial detriment to a decision that you're going to make as a member of the board, you need to declare, I have a potential conflict of interest, or I have an actual conflict of interest. In the case of an actual, you need to, our board policy says you need to get up and remove yourself from the dais while the rest of the board votes. Yeah, so I'm saying, for example, if there was a complaint against me and there was the potential that the grievance could be filed as a complaint with OGEC. There is potential financial detriment to me. So I have a conflict of interest in how I vote on that one complaint related to me. That's an example,
So then everyone who's named in here should.
probably.
Okay, that probably, or they have to by law.
Well, I'm not giving you legal advice, but yeah, by law, you have to. Declare a conflict of interest, declare ex parte contact, declare. Refresh my memory what that was.
I put a motion to ship it off. With a bow on it.
I thought that died.
I didn't know, did anybody second?
Does anyone want to second that?
Okay, so it died. Okay,
Mr. Vice Chair, I move that any of the opinions that go to the commission are done by you.
I would second that.
The opinions that have to be wrote, the decisions that are wrote, which one goes to the commission.
Okay, that is one thing that the state law doesn't define who's going to reply on behalf of the public body. There's a motion that I do it, and a second, as part of discussion, I want to say, you guys got to help me out. We got to pick 1, 2, or 3 for each of these complaints, because I don't want to make that decision myself. And I've had that conversation with OGEC, and they agree that this is based on her advice. This is what we should do it. And this table is just really.
I think the maintenance department would fix the table on the terrace table. I make a motion to fix it. Come on, man.
That's what I feel about it, Dustin.
Good. Kind of how figured running here.
So there's a motion and a second. Julie, would you do a roll call vote?
Yes.
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 No. Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimous with Mary stating no. Except for Mary as a no. Do we want to take up the first complaint? And or the board can decide as an, you know, could collectively decide to apply. Because, you know, there are issues in here that are conflict of interest, that are other issues that are not part, that OGEC is going to investigate regardless of what we do. They don't care about. What we're doing here tonight is with the illegal, that's not a great way to phrase it, but they will investigate it. They will come to a conclusion, substantiated or unsubstantiated. What we're doing here tonight is responding to the allegation in each of the complaints that there was an illegal meeting. So in a sense, they're all related. And in a sense, we could collectively do a motion like you did, and all of us agree to reply to all of them the same way. Terry.
So we can all. And then we're still getting an investigation.
I think we're still getting an investigation anyway.
Because option one, if we, then then Jason would be take it up on his own and submit it. I can say that because so he'd take that up, and whoever it was would take it up and put it up there. And the second one would be, we admit that there was a violation, right? But we don't really do that.
Well, we admit the facts.
The facts.
That what they're alleging is true, but that there's not there's a violation. So we would explain why the facts show that there's not a violation.
Oh,
It's kind of hard.
kind of hard.
kind of hard as a public body. Let me,
Right, and so I am, this is unfounded. And so as a person of character and integrity, I am not willing to vote number 2 or 3, because that would say I'm guilty. So what I'm going to do is make a motion that we go with number 1 and let either Jason or OGEC do an investigation. Lloyd's not here to defend himself. You're not listed. A few people, 5 of us are, missing myself. I make a motion for number 1, and then it can be followed with the path, either with OGEC doing the investigation or Jason having to see that.
Well, then I think it's gotta be one or the other. It's gotta be the number 1 or number 3.
So number I.
So as a board, because I don't feel we can take care. Right?
Yeah.
It's gotta be one or the other. So
it
either
has to
we're
be
gonna.
1, 2, or 3.
So the first is denying that it took place.
Right,
But I
denying the
don't think that we
facts,
can deny
denying the violation.
So that's why I just asked that question. So number 1, you would still allow for OGEC to do an investigation, or Jason would just up it. to OGEC.
All of them will still allow OGEC.
Me, whatever everyone decides, I will be voting no, because there's accusations against me.
Okay, so let's take your motion to, there's a motion on the floor to deny the facts, deny there was any violation as to all the complaints. Do I have a second? Hearing none, the motion dies. Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chair, I've sat here quietly and listened quite a bit. What my question is, we're responsible beyond to our students, our staff, and our community. Right now, what we're focusing on is we're responsible to respond to the complainants. And by extension to OGEC, correct?
That's correct.
So if we were to tell our complainants, we received your complaint. There may be evidence. We're referring this to OGEC because they're going to investigate anyway.
That's true. I believe they will investigate anyway, is my guess. But the state law still, and the OGC person that I talked to and the WSBA attorney this weekend, and it still requires that we respond. In our response,
One of the 3.
one of the 3
It can't
options.
be just, yeah, we received it and then move on. It has to be one of the 3.
I don't think we can deny it.
And
Well,
so,
I'm-
I mean, basically what you're saying, Terry, deny it. Take it to the OGEC,
No,
but I mean, that's in essence, that's only that your option there. The way I interpret it for us to respond would be, we acknowledge, we thank you for. Well, a community member put this to our attention, and that's what I think, if I can boil it down, that to me is what you're recommending. With
It gets
that,
sent anyways, either way.
it's gonna get sent anyway. You know, so that's why I'm saying it's either number 1 or it's number 3. I don't think that the middle one is an option. That we admit that there's a violation and then we proceed to describe why. it's
Well, we
not a
admit the
violation.
facts
We
and
don't
then
wanna
deny there's a
deny
violation.
this
Yeah,
Violation.
yeah.
So I don't see where number 2,
So-
it's gotta be 1 or 3.
So hearing, without objection, let's go around. And board members, get a consensus. Or just say a motion.
So which one are we going to do? Go around the table or?
Either one. Same motion,
Is
or
it-
we can go around the table and get consensus.
And that's legal to do that, just want to make sure we're doing everything right.
Yeah, we're in a public meeting.
Consensus for.
Consensus for 1 or 3.
I'll say one.
Can we do it more, please?
Yeah, okay.
3.
Well, so somebody make a motion.
Go around and we have a consensus of choosing option 1 or number 3
As a final vote,
as a final vote.
Okay.
Oh, you second?
I'll second that.
okay. Julie, if you do a roll call.
3.
3,
3.
One.
didn't hear. I didn't hear that.
I just.
Okay, 3, so passes unanimously with the exception of Mary. Well, that is. Apologize for the time. Does anybody want to declare as since we're doing it with all of them? Does anyone want to declare conflict of interest, ex parte contact, or bias?
Can't be biased becomes ourselves, right? So we need to do conflict of interest, correct?
Well, if you have a bias. Yeah. No, do you have a conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Okay, at least you've declared it on the record. Does anybody else want to do that? Hearing none. Yeah, no, I just need to flip my page. We're at board comments.
I want to apologize for using lynching. I think to me it was just a verb. I think it was not the right word to use. It's just the feeling that I had and the word that came to mind. I apologize for that. And the news thing.
Do we?
So I make a motion to nominate Mike as the new board chair.
We do that in this meeting.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
so there's a motion and a second to make me the chair. Should we do a vote?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Motion passes with Mary's saying no.
Case, Mr. Chair, do we need to state how we're going to rectify? Is that part of the, we accept the facts, accept the.
Do they advise?
Yes, it does say, explain how, you're right, and remembering that from my comments, it does say explain how the public body will fix the violation. So,
You mean as far as the ORSs?
yeah, as far as
Well,
the response to the complaint and then to OGEC. If we admit the facts and admit there was a violation as a public body, they want us to say how we'll explain, you know, like we voted in a different chair, we voted in a different, you know, we had people attend, you know, we asked
Community-
OSBA to come do a remedial training on public meetings law. So that's probably something that
We put it as an action item on the next meeting to like.
will be outside the 21-day window. So I'm open to any motions.
I move that we state that we have removed and replaced board chair and the other officer in the complaint. Get more training or remedial training from OSBA. And then defer to ethics.
Okay, so there's a motion to remove and replace as far as remediation, that we will say in the response that we removed and replaced the board chair and the other officer listed in the complaint, that we get remedial training from OSBA on public meetings, and we defer to OGEC on its decision. So there's a motion and a second. I'll state it again, to remove and that as remediation, that we removed and replaced the board chair and the other officer in the complaint. We also are going to get remedial training from OSBA on public meetings law and defer to OGEC for its decision. So Julie, if you call a vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table. Okay. That's correctly. I move that we decide the open officer positions at the next board meeting.
Yeah,
I second.
there's a motion and a second to decide the who's in the open officer's position, the vice chair and the second vice chair, I think is what we renamed it at the next meeting. Any discussion? Julie, if you call for a vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll just make a comment. Tonight's been a pretty. No night that I've ever seen before. One of the things that I just want to hear the new chair, that I encourage you to make sure that after a motion has been seconded, to ask for discussion. Because a number of times tonight, that was bypassed. And so I just want to make sure, maybe just write that, because it's really important, especially if we're emotional, or we're talking about something heated, that word discussion helps reset us so that we aren't just heading right into that.
Thank you for your feedback.
I also want to encourage members to stay strong. You're elected, and I believe we all have integrity, character, and that every human on the planet has flaws. I mean, if we think about even when Jesus says, those of you haven't ever done anything wrong, cast the first stone. No stones were cast. So I think we need to look at everyone here with grace and forgiveness and support. Stay strong. And remember, it's always about the kids, everything.
So are there any other board comments?
Yeah. I want to thank the community and staff that sent all the letters in. It was really nice to read those, get feedback.
Yeah, I'll second that. a lot of support. Um, well, the next item is item number 10. The Sweet Home School Board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 182-662E, which allows the public body to meet in executive session to negotiate real property transactions. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not, and we will come back to regular session after we're done. But representatives of the news media are specifically directed to not report or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision shall be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we'll return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
I like that service.
I know.
That's still, I like that.
But I know who probably owns some of the property. If it's closer to us, then. So just to recap, called the meeting back into open session. And now we're on number 11, late items.
So I could not put that flag salute as a late item. Could have.
I'd leave that up to the board.
You can probably make a motion to.
Yeah, you can make a motion.
Yes. Yeah, have a first reading of a flag salute policy. It's just a slight change and an addition.
As an action item or something for
As
the
a-
review?
For
To include in the packet next month to review as a first reading.
Because,
Is
I
that,
mean, if we
is
could
that
have
the
it-
motion?
I think what I'm trying to say is it's a flag salute for, so it's a policy to have the flag salute every day. And so right now it's just once a week. And so I wanted to hopefully get this in, and it's my fault. I didn't get it in on time. So the school's about to start.
Do we need to have a first reading for that?
I believe that.
To adopt the policy,
To adopt
yeah.
the policy. So put it into next.
Yeah, it'll be September, but okay,
So I gotta,
I'll just do it. Make sure it's in next packet, so,
So I would give it to him afterwards, so he can.
okay.
put
And
it in the
Julie
next
has
packet,
it,
Yeah.
just to give him, okay.
okay, hearing nothing else, we'll move on to future agenda items. Which I think is really the listed under 13 below. There's a new teacher luncheon August 18th at 11:30 in the boardroom. There's an in-service. It's an in-service August 25th, 7:30 in the high school cafeteria to 8.
That's a good question.
And then 8, then you're gonna continue at 8 o'clock in the high school auditorium. You're gonna move from the
Correct.
cafeteria. So that's kind of the State of the Union meeting of the year.
Just welcoming the teachers, their first day of everybody together.
And all the board members are invited to that, is that correct?
Yes.
And then there's the next board officers meeting is Tuesday, September 2nd. Got that in my calendar. First day of school is September 2nd. And the next board meeting, September 9th at 6:30 in the board room.
Here,
Yeah,
a reminder, it's from up above, but on that September 9th meeting, we will have a work session from 3 to 6 on the strategic plan.
And Julie will send that out in an email.
That's for those four
Remind-
people, right? Not
no,
everybody.
No, that's
That's
everybody.
for the strategic plan, like that's on the back wall. It's a new one.
that's for all of us.
That-
Same
September
thing.
9th.
3 to 6 PM, September 9th. Immediately before our 6:30 board meeting. And so we'll continue with that strategic plan process and hopefully bring that to conclusion.
And I have a quick question about the luncheon. I know in the past, the luncheon has been over at the high school because there's been a number of teachers. It's here, but is it gonna be in this room? Oh, and so are board members invited to come? Yes.
I have it in my calendar. Anything else from the board members? Thank you. We'll adjourn.